Hello, everyone. Lovely to have you online in some way, shape, or form. Today, I am going to take you through some information about our next little section of the Health Equalities Inequalities unit. This week, we're going to be looking at the impact of alcohol and drugs. Now, you might go, why? Yes, people drink, they take drugs. The reason being, in modern studies, we want to try and understand what impact overdosing or what impact kind of addictions and things have, not only on the people involved, but the wider society. So we look at things like, what does that actually cost our NHS? Because everybody contributes to the NHS, whether they drink or take drugs or not. And it's also part of our course because if you're thinking in the future of going into an area of working with people, police, social work, even if it's, working with families and things like that, it's really important that your understanding of the impacts on society can help you. Now, I'm not going to take you through every activity because I'm sure you can read the slides easy enough. Your first thing is, how many types of alcohol and drugs can you think of? Now, I've put a box in there, which I'm pretty sure for some of you will not be big enough. 5 minutes maximum, note down any that you think of. What I will say is they don't necessarily have to be illegal. Prescription medication, paracetamol, ibuprofen, they are all technically classed as drugs. Some of them, though, are socially acceptable. We say it's fine to take them. Now, I'm not here to say never drink in your life and never, take paracetamol and whatever. Obviously, as humans and as you grow into adults, you will make your own decisions. For some who choose to drink, alcohol can be good, okay? Alcohol can have benefits if you're careful with it, but it's about being aware what it can do to you. So for example, scientists have found that actually a small amount of red wine, not bottles and bottles, but a small amount of red wine can have good properties in it because of the antioxidants that can be found in the grapes that make the wine. Okay, we also know that medication is necessary for some. There are some people who are on steroids because the illness or the disease they have is so severe. However, if you take steroids without a doctor's advice and prescription, that is illegal and it is very, very dangerous. So there are some drugs that we would use. If you've ever had an operation, you will have probably had something called an opiate. An opiate is like along the same level of drugs as heroin, but they use it. Morphine, for example, is an opiate. Okay, morphine that takes away your pain. You will probably know people who have had that, even if you haven't. That is absolutely fine if that is being taken with the doctor or with the surgeons or the nurses, whomever is giving it to you. There is a task here that I would like you to have a go at to see how many units of alcohol each of the drinks on the right-hand side of the slide would be. Now, I'm deliberately saying a large glass of wine because the picture you see there, that is not a normal measure that you would get in wine. It may be what we call a home measure, as in what someone pours at home. A unit of alcohol is how we measure it. I'm looking for a number here. So for example, is it 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units? I'm not looking for, 500 mils or a litre, okay? So have a think there. What I will tell you is none of those are over 4 units, definitely. So you know they're all going to be under. If you're not sure, what I would do there is rank them and say at the top, which one do you think is the strongest alcohol, like would make you the most drunk? Then at the bottom, the one that you think would have the least impact, probably has the least alcohol in it. So if you're not sure, put them in order. There's also a couple of questions I'd like you to answer there about driving. The first one, how many drinks do you think you legally can have? Okay, so if you were stopped by police and they give you a breathalyzer, what would be okay? You wouldn't be over the limit. The next question is slightly different. What do you think should be the limit in terms of alcohol and driving? Do you think you should be allowed a glass of wine, 1 unit, 2 units? None at all. That is your opinion there. We then got some facts on alcohol, which I'm going to let you read through yourselves. You are all mature enough. Take your time. Remember, if you want to use the read and write software to help you narrow that down a little bit, but you will need to read this because you will need to answer some questions that are just coming up. I've also got an image there for those of you who are visual learners and prefer to learn that way, and then some questions for you to answer there, okay? If you're unsure, what I've tried to do is the easiest question is number 1. Then number 2 is a little bit more challenging. Number 3 is a bit more challenging. So if you get stuck, just miss them out. We've then got some more facts about alcohol, particularly in Scotland. For example, it costs us £3.6 billion every year on average. And that's because we have to give money to the NHS, to social care. So, for example, if someone's children need care because they're an alcoholic, if it's because that they need support at home because they've got a disease, maybe their liver disease, so they need funding there, and also to the justice system because alcohol has a huge impact on crime. 22 people die every week due to alcohol or an alcohol-related illness in Scotland. That's just under our class size. I think there's about 26, 27 on average of you in each S3 Modern Studies class, so it's just under that. In 2017, there was a One Punch campaign launched by Police Scotland. You can click on that link to read the full BBC article that tells you about it. Essentially, this is a campaign that the police started because what they found is when people were getting very, very drunk on nights out, they were more likely to become violent. And there was an increase in the amount of people who were throwing one punch that unfortunately ended up either causing severe disability to their victim or killing them. You won't see any horrible images here. It just talks about the campaign, but it makes it very interesting when we talk about laws around alcohol. I then want you to sum that up. And then our last little thing today is looking at short and long-term effects. Short-term effects are things that are instant. So if someone's had too much drink, they might be hungover. A short-term effect might be that they have had to go to hospital because they punched a wall when they were really angry and they've had to get stitches on their hand. That's short. It will pass. It will be over. Long-term effects, however, are ones that maybe you don't realise. So it maybe takes 3-4 years of excessive drinking for someone's organs to start failing. Or perhaps it takes long-term alcoholism for someone to actually realise that they need help and have an addiction. So something that either happens over years and years or something that you don't realise at the time, but it hits you maybe 10, 15 years later. Your task is to sort the items that you have in the dark green box there into short and long term. Some of them can go in both. That is okay. And then from level 4 candidates, those of you aiming for your level 4, there's an evaluation question at the end there as well. So that is looking at alcohol, the inequalities that alcohol can lead to. And then the next lesson this week is going to look at drugs. Hopefully you find that helpful to work through, but do let your teacher know if you've got any questions at all. See you soon.